There is way too much talking in this world and too little doing. I'm a naturally very action-oriented person. I'm all about making things happen. I totally believe in be the change you want to see. And I have a very low tolerance level for people who whinge and whine about stuff and never do anything to change it. I observed that arguably the single biggest pool of untapped natural resource in this world is human good intentions that never translate into action. And I also observed, given a background of 28 years working in advertising, that there's another equally large, powerful and untapped pool of resource, which is corporate good intentions. Because companies have good intentions too, but just like people, they find it really hard to find quick, easy, simple ways to act on them, importantly in a corporate context, in ways that then make sense for and help drive their business. So I created ifwerantheworld.com, which is essentially emotional software. It's a synthesis of technology and psychology because it's designed to do a very difficult task, which is to get people to use the internet to make things happen in the real world. If Facebook is the social graph and Twitter is the interest graph, I designed If We Ran the World to be the action graph. But I'm trying to do something much more difficult than Facebook and Twitter, which is translate talk into action. And that's going to take a whole lot longer. Actually, moving from talk to action is potentially very simple. If We Ran the World is simply repurposing common sense. Our atomic unit is the micro-action, in the same way that the tweet is the atomic unit of Twitter. A micro-action is the action equivalent of 140 characters or less. It's an incredibly small, simple, easy to do action, which is so easy to do, why wouldn't you do it? And that's because everything in life and in business starts with a micro-action. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the important thing here is actually not so much about what that actual step, that micro-action is, but the way it makes you feel about yourself. Because action is transformative. When you do something, however tiny, that means you've taken real action that has a real impact, it makes you feel completely differently about yourself and what you're capable of. And that's why, if I ran the world, I would translate every single good intention into action. Because the impact that has on how people feel about what they're capable of doing is dramatic. If We Ran the World is predicated on the fact that the old top-down model of making things happen through hierarchies, organizations, institutions is broken. There's a new bottom-up model emerging of collaborative people power and collective action. And by the way, it's interesting how people have seen how this operates in Arab Spring. They see how it operates in social media. They still don't understand its tremendous applicability to business and also to their own lives and to making what you want to happen for you. So actually, if you can identify the micro-actions are the starting points for anything that you want to make happen, then you can band together to collaborate to make those things happen. So If We Ran the World is crowdsourced, networked action. Anybody can generate micro-actions to achieve certain goals. Micro-actions have attributes, talents and skills required to do them. So you can target micro-actions at anybody who is perfectly positioned to do them. And that might be one of your friends. It might be someone you know but you've never met. It might be a company. It might be a brand, it might be an organization. It's when we all act together to make things happen that you really see real change and real impact in the world. The best thing about the internet for me is what it makes happen in the real world. My answer is biased because I've spent 28 years working in advertising, which requires a tremendous understanding of consumer psychology and human insight. Based on that, I can tell you that people are the same old human beings they've always been. The buzzword of today is social media. Social media is simply the same old human truths, attitudes, instincts, dynamics with a whole new methodology. And so I love the internet because it gives us new digital tools to be the same people we've always been, but to actually make things happen for us in the real world, in our lives today, in ways that we never could before.